So the everyday of a page is very different. You don't really know what you're getting yourself into when you come each day, but I guess that's the beauty of it.
Page morning begins at 8 a.m. With the pages arriving in the page office. After that, we usually begin our planning for the day. We look at the schedule on the board. Usually we'll have a caucus or committee to attend to in the morning. And
some of the more consistent things we do is we make sure that coffee shop is always set up, ready to go.
We set up the morning committees, so that's printing out the agendas, getting the gavel, getting the nameplates, setting those things up.
You make sure that committees are all set up well before the start time.
I loved setting up for committees because it just made you excited. Yeah, we're gonna have committee soon.
You'll go get the senators' things, get them all set up, test their microphones, and then you'll sit through committee helping the senators with whatever they need.
Make sure everything is running and make sure that the process is running correctly.
The research analysts are the ones who kind of orchestrate the whole committee, and we're there kind of following their direct orders. But it begins with the committee chair gaveling in, and we'll run through the bills.
And then just being there in committees, you see more than what the public sees, so you're really a part of the process and you're just lending a helping hand.
I loved all three of my committees. I looked forward to them throughout the day because I just loved hearing the discussion on the bills between, the senators on both sides of the aisle and hearing the arguments behind them and the points being made.
You really get to see what goes on here, and you get to see how what happens here actually affects the state and affects your community.
We are able to see members debate each other, discuss issues, and we're able to see lobbyists come in and the public explain their voices. So this gives you a unique experience in witnessing politics.
One of the coolest experiences for a page is to be in committee. When you see a big important issue that's going to affect you as an individual and many others in Arizona, you get to really see it at the beginning of the process.
And those are always really interesting. You're assigned to a committee, you show up, and you get to see the arguments happen for bills right there in person. And you get to see what the senators say, what the constituents say. It's such a close-up, unique perspective.
My favorite thing about committee is that you hear the bills in committee and then you hear them on floor and then they get voted on, and it's really like watching a bill become a law. And I think that's so cool because you get to hear all the discussion about it in committee, all the different sides, and then you get to see the final vote on the floor.
Having the privilege of being able to sit in caucus allowed me that firsthand experience that this program truly provides.
There's Democratic and Republican caucus. They meet and the pages have to set up everything for that meeting. They discuss bills that are going on the calendar or maybe going on the calendar that legislators will vote for on the floor.
The purpose of caucus is to, allow all of the senators on that side of the aisle to kind of come together to be able to present bills as one united front on floor.
I was able to see how parties communicate within themselves to form a strategy in voting.
Party members discuss between each other whether they should support a bill or not. And if they have disagreements, they disagree right there and debate with each other. And sometimes they make revisions to make it a bill that works for everyone.
At around 1:30 p.m. is when we have our floor session.
Again, we grab all the laptops for the senators, set those up, and sit on floor and wait for it to start.
People aren't really loud on floor. You can watch it, but you can't be there in person, so it's a whole different atmosphere when you're there.
Besides just the parts that we do, just sort of being there to help, it's a look into the legislative process that I don't think anyone really gets unless they're watching Senate live streams on a daily basis, which I think is a pretty small crowd. Right, so there's first read where the president is assigning bills to committee. There's second read where the reader reads as fast as lightning to read everything super quickly to get it out of the way.
Later in session, we spend a lot more time in what we like to call Committee of the Whole, or COW. That's when they debate the bills or add amendments if there is any to add.
They're basically deciding whether or not they're going to vote on something and what version of it to vote on. And then third read, where they're actually voting, and that's the part where there can be some heated debates, which is really exciting and really fun.
When it's the time of year that bills are third read, voted on, or final read, we will take the bills after they have been voted on with the vote count to the Senate Secretary's office, where they will work with the bill and do what they need to transmit it over to the House or the governor's office.
You get to see sort of the difference between all the different procedural steps.
So after the floor session, we have afternoon committees. They usually start off at 2 p.m. depending on what time the floor session ends.
We want to make sure that Committees are fast and efficient. We want to make sure that there's no technical difficulties.
Pages who usually aren't in the afternoon committees are in the page office. We're usually running errands, delivering mail, distributing legislative material.
It's not everyone doing the same task necessarily, so there's different groups of pages going off doing different things because we might get phone calls for different tasks around the building.
I'd say the biggest part of our day is answering the phone. We get a numerous amount of calls every day from the staff, from assistants, from senators, from the front desk, from security saying, hey, there's an issue here, could you come deal with this?
Kind of whatever the building needs, we're there. And it's really, really incredible being able to do so many different things, wear so many different hats.
Another thing that we do later during the day is we deliver mail and we'll distribute it to each office.
We'll finish delivering mail, pick up mail to have it delivered and sent out. Doing any number of things. Senators request for us to come to their office to help set something up, we'll go there. It's kind of all over.
We'll usually just do any other odd projects that the building needs. So sometimes we'll work at the info desk. So any given day could look completely different depending on what's going on here, and that's kind of the fun of the job. You show up for work kind of knowing what you think the day will look like, but it could end up being so much more complex and cool, and you could get to see so many different things that you had no idea that would even be happening today, which is just so incredible.
But at the end of the day, your responsibilities and duties are just making sure that the senators have everything they need to make sure that they can do their job properly for when they have floor, caucus, and committee. And you also do that for staff. Your job is to just help anybody in here that needs a little bit more help to do their job.
Our guest speaker series is really fun.
We kind of get to learn about their journey to politics. A lot of them don't necessarily see themselves in politics, so I think that's interesting how they end up here despite initially not being interested in it, but the duty calls.
All of the guest speakers that we had were really informative, and they gave a lot of insight on how they got to their position and the steps that they took.
And it's really inspiring because a lot of us want to do that in the future, so getting firsthand experience and being told how they got to that is just really cool. And
because it shows you that anybody can be in these roles and make change, and I think that's so important for people to understand, is that you could just be a regular person who's been through a struggle and still make it at a place like this.
I think one of my favorite things about it is seeing how many of the people used to be pages. You get people that were pages that are now research analysts, or they are now working in the governor's office or something to that effect. And it shows how many opportunities open up to you just because of the position you're in.
My experience as a Senate page here at the Arizona Senate has been absolutely wonderful. The program has given me unique opportunities that I feel like no other program can offer. It's shown me the legislative experience and process from a first-hand view. And my position as a page has allowed me to see bills go through the entire process, seeing the debate within on the floor, and just viewing the background drama that comes with politics. It's been absolutely amazing.
But overall, I think it's been a really great experience because it's something that you can read about and you can study forever, but you'll never truly know what it is and how it actually works until you get to see it from the inside. So I feel so grateful and lucky for getting to be one of those few people that get to sit in here.